Hey there, it's Chris from Good Roads, and I am working together with Roarockit to develop a kit so that y'all can press your own freeride decks. In the last video, I pressed this prototype right here and I gave it a test ride, and I gotta say, it came out pretty good. However, there were a couple aspects of the geometry that I wanted to modify just a little bit, and I really wanted to get some wheel wells in place. So in this video, we're gonna be tackling a fundamental step in product development, iteration. I'm going to be taking what I learned from this first version of the deck and incorporating it into how I go about making the second version. And that kind of improvement really gets me excited. So let's get to it. The first thing I want to address is the wheel wells, this area right here where, in a deep turn, the wheels come closest to touching the deck. I managed to get the tiniest flares here in my first version, but I was really hoping for something less subtle, and as you can see here, I actually did get a small amount of wheel bite. And instead of just forging ahead and making my next mold, I decided to do some testing first. I'm gonna use my original mold as a sacrificial test to try out different ways of getting those wheel wells to work before moving over to the final product. My theory was that the wood just didn't have enough room to make the intended curves given the forces we're playing with here using a vac bag. So my first attempt was to simply open up that flare in the mold, making the curves more gradual and giving the wood more room to bend. And again, instead of guessing or pulling a Hail Mary and hoping that it worked, I'm gonna do a test. I got my veneers in order and then did a dry run, pulling vacuum and pressing the board without any glue. This let me see how the wood was being bent into the curves of my mold, and hey, that's definitely headed in the right direction. I think we can get those veneers down a little closer to the foam though and fill in that gap between the deck and the mold, so let's make some further adjustments. Once more, I made the curves of my flare more gradual and more spacious, leaving more room for the veneers to bend. Then it's back to the bag to check on the results of those changes. And boom, there we go. That's the ticket. Just for comparison, this is what the original mold geometry looked like and how the wood came to meet it. The new version has maybe become a little bit more of a wheel swoop. It's pretty gradual, but it meets perfectly with the mold and the veneers really are flaring up out of the way of the wheels in the deck geometry. That is the shape I was looking for. Freaking sweet. With that worked out, I can move on to making my updated mold. Luckily, there's a lot about this shape that is going to stay the same, so I can save time and cheat a bit by just copying my marks over from the first version. I'm keeping the same length, wheelbase, and kicktail length, and the 3 inches of flat in the bottom of the concave is staying the same as well. Here's where I start to make my updates though. I felt that both the concave and the kicktails in the last version were a little too subtle, so I'm moving from a 1-inch kicktail to 1.5 inches, and I'm adding a 1/4 inch to the depth of my concave. That change is out at the edge of the mold, so it will actually have a smaller impact than the measurements would suggest, but it still should make a significant difference. Next, I've got to translate my new wheel flare geometry over from the experiment in the old mold, and I'm mostly eyeballing it. I adjusted my shape until I felt like it looked like the curves from my tests, and then I made myself a template to transfer those shapes to the other 3 corners of the board. I made a second template for the top part of the flare shape and transferred that to the new mold as well. With that done, I could mark my waste material and get carving. And just to be certain, I did one more dry run with my new mold to make sure it was behaving the way that I intended. Everything's looking good, so it was time to start rolling some glue. I got a tip in the comments from Longboard Technology on how to save materials by wrapping your glue roller in plastic so that you don't have to soak a new roller every time you press a board. It's been working out great for me so far. That channel has a ton of cool longboard R&D, so if you're craving some board building content, go check it out. I got my layup in the bag. Pulled a vacuum. And left it to cure overnight. And damn, that is one sweet blank. In Houston, we have wheel flares. Yes, yes. I am very happy with this blank. And you know what else? I'm proud. I'm proud that I managed to get wheel flares using a vac bag without any additional clamps. That is a neat trick, and I pulled it off successfully. So, in the next video, I'm gonna drill and shape this thing, and then we'll get it out onto the pavement to do some more test riding. And hopefully I'll be able to show you guys some improvement on my soft wheel sliding because I'm still not very good at it. If you like the project and you wanna see where it's going, or if you wanna see any other of the huge amount of awesome DIY board sports stuff we do here on the channel, you should go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you got any questions or comments, leave a message for me down below. I'd do my best to get to all of them. If you're feeling generous, like these people right here, and you want to support, you can go check out the Patreon. The amount that they chip in every month is what allows me to keep tackling projects week by week, and the support is so very appreciated. As always, I love having you guys along for the ride. Thank you so much for stopping through, and until next time, I'll see you soon. Raining, raining, I hope the background noise isn't too annoying. Yeah. Can you see the wheel wells? Cause I can. If you've never used a vac bag before, not to toot my own horn, but like, it really is kind of hard to do. So, proud of this one.